Welcome back to another episode on the Create Mod. In the last one, we built the base that I am standing on now. I guess the building, the archway of Kindle. Kindle Bubble, that's the channel name. That's why it's like that. And also, we made so much more progress. We terraformed this entire area. We built a bridge across this kind of the gap here that's a similar style to the ones over there. And then we finished up with terraforming this area, and we built a railway with this second kind of track with our in our train station here that goes all the way around to a guardian farm, which is what we are doing today. That is right. I'm going to make a guardian farm, maybe decorate it. I don't know. But at least we're making a guardian farm. We're going to make it sick. We're going to make it fast, efficient, and we're going to get a train that goes all the way back to our base. I'm running into walls, and it's going to be sick. But first things first, I need to design this thing. I am obviously aware of vanilla guardian farms. I know how they work. I know what we're doing with those. But with the Create Mod, you can do a bunch cooler stuff, including the teardown process is going to be a ton easier. Normally, you have to like sit there mining with a conduit and a beacon, but I'm just going to use a bunch of drills and I'm just going to brute force this thing. We don't have a lot. We have 14, but we have little micro farms that make all of these things. So that's what we are doing first. As I mentioned, we do already have a farm for andesite alloy and all that other stuff. We already have andesite in here. I just need to make a bunch of nuggets. And then we honestly just need to wait for this thing to fill up. But in the meantime, we can actually grab some of these andesite alloys and start making the andesite casings that we need. Turn it on. What's the button? And there we go. That is now being made. While we're doing this though, let's quickly hop into just a creative copy of this world so we can run over to the Guardian Farm area and start to think of a design. So we are over in a creative testing world right at the ocean monument here. This is in the same world. Our base is just down here and this is what we've come up with. So I tried initially to just cover the whole thing with drills and just use one rope pulley to do all of it. I think that's too big and the game kind of glitches out and freezes, but we can do exactly half of the ocean monument, which means we just have to scoot that guy over to another block over there, and then it will clear the whole thing for us pretty much immediately. And I haven't tested this. I assume I will just want it to go down to the bottom of the ocean monument floor, which is this set of prismarine blocks here. And then once it's there, I can just pull it back up, pick up the minecart, and scooch it over a couple blocks. And if you remember, way earlier in the series, I made this like little miner thing with the rope pulley and stuff. It is already a minecart contraption for me. I forgot that I had this. It was just in my backpack, not this one right here. So I just grabbed that and put it in and then expanded the drills and it's working. So if we flick this one, and turn on this, oh, we will start lagging, but it will start mining everything. It will also be killing stuff, including that orca whale, which good or bad, and it will create a bunch of items that I think get deleted immediately. They don't, never mind. Really weird things happening now where we're losing most of our drills and I'm not sure why this is happening. Because it was working a second ago. I didn't change anything with the glue. All right, I've re-glued it all again and let's hope that it works this time. It does. Wonderful. We literally needed that for 2 more rows and I'm lagging too much. It's fixed. Great. Now let's see, because this will be a really big differentiator. It does still work. So I don't know why it broke before, but we're just going to pretend that it didn't. And maybe we get some chests on this bad boy, just so that it doesn't do that again and all the items don't fly everywhere. All right, we got barrels in. Will they move? They will. Awesome. Once we've mined this one side, we should just be able to pick this up, grab a wrench, pick that whole thing up, and then scooch the rail over to here, and you'll actually notice that I moved it over a block, and that is so that the drills now go down all the way to the bottom of the side instead of just 1 block over, so that we don't have to manually mine everything. And then if we, oh, bird, no, it's fixed. You can put the lever back down, turn this thing on, and this should just go straight down with all of its pieces, and it does. Awesome, and it is mining it. This is working. So after we do this, we can get in the kind of like infrastructure of the build, which is really easy. We could just use a schematic for that because it is just some walls. And we now have that in. As you can see, it is literally just glass and some soul sand at the bottom. And this is looking very vanilla so far, but that is where this ends. Now I want to use an encased fan, or I guess however many this many is, at full speed to try to push all of the mobs and everything else over to the other side. I am almost certain it won't reach the other side though. So let's see how far it actually goes. It looks like it goes really close to halfway, which is not super helpful, believe it or not. But what if I put the other set of fans over on this other side here? And I think that's the same amount of them. It doesn't super matter. And we can push those to this block here. So now we are left with this amount of area in the center. So I'm thinking of two ways that we can go about actually doing this. We can either have like a system where we have fans and more fans and they just all push it to the center. And then we have a set of fans back here that push them this way. And maybe we have like a waterfall tier system where we have fans maybe at this block here, and the bubble water goes all the way up to this block, and then this goes all the way across, and then down where we have another set of fans here that continues to push them. That would work, but it won't be that much faster than a normal Guardian farm, I don't think. It'll be a little bit faster because you can transport mobs a little bit faster that way. But there are actually vanilla farms that only use a quarter or whatever, however much of this is, probably a third of the Guardian farm. And we could do like a third width-wise, but half this way. And that will be plenty big. So let's say we are only going to use a third of the farm. So we'll shrink down this whole area by a third. We now have this smaller area, which we can, well, should be able to remove a couple of these glass blocks and replace them with drills. And my hope is that the drills will be able to kill all the guardians and I guess the squid that we have for some reason. And this is going to use a lot of drills, but I think that's fine. We're not going to super need a ton of them, but all of these things are going to cost a lot of stress units. So we will probably need to go make a steam engine over near here as well. All right, so if we switch this to hard mode, we should see a bunch of guardians spawning and going pushed over into the drills. We don't have those turned on yet. So if we just place a roof on top of this, it is already working. We just powered up the drills and yes, it is already working. The last thing that we're going to need to do is, first of all, double check that if we go far enough away, no guardians can spawn anywhere else other than right here. I don't know exactly how far it is. It's 128 blocks, but I don't know how far that is in real life. It looks like this is going to be the best spot for us to build the farm and for me to AFK. I am up here somewhere. Yeah, so I am up here. I want to be pretty much exactly 128 blocks away from the edges here. And it looks like I am. Occasionally subspawn on the outside like this one. But as soon as he starts to swim away, he'll despawn. So I'm not too worried about it. It's not super harming the rates unless they are able to swim closer to me in a quick amount of time. But even so, we're getting a ton of spawns here, and this is relatively simple to build. We just need to break open this amount of space in the Guardian Temple, and then the rest can be left as is, which is awesome. It's a lot less work there. It's smaller, and now we just have to work on item collection. I have some more good news. We are able to just do one row of drills here, and I'm gonna keep the other like kind of wall bits to be either like literal walls, which we actually could do, or something else that is like half a block, because then we can get in something like hoppers maybe right underneath these and then use item transport that way. Backpacks have magnets. I am so doubtful that we can get a backpack and a magnet to pick stuff up remotely, but it's worth a shot. So if we just have this diamond backpack picking up everything in the area, same with this one over here, it already picked something up. I feel like I remember seeing this in one of Mr. Beardstone's videos where you can do just a backpack chilling there. And if that lets me take the easy way out, I am absolutely gonna take it. I do need to make sure that no whales are going to get caught here because they do spawn and they are big boys. So we are going to keep walls underneath these drills. But I think if we just have a set of drills, walls underneath, they're like perfect hitbox levels to not interfere with each other. like the walls won't block any big guys from not getting hit by the drills. So I guess let's head back up to our AFK platform and just see how many drops we actually get, and if those backpacks are going to be enough or if we're going to need one more. All right, we are watching this here, and the good thing about using the AFK platform is that I can just set up a chunk loader here, and I think it'll work immediately. I can't check these backpacks, and I don't know if items are coming in, so we'll just have to come over and check in a second, but it looks like it's going to be working. So it looks like it actually did work. I just had to throw in another backpack in the middle here to get everything, but otherwise we're good. It looks like they grab everything in like a 5-block radius-ish, so I think we're good here. The next thing we need to do is item transport, and I actually just remembered I was going to use hoppers and hopper minecarts. I actually just remembered that you can use brass funnels to just drop out items. Easy. Why would I not do that? Stupid. And we can actually make with an automated press prismarine, which is way easier than crafters. And the same is true for prismarine blocks. And we don't have dark prismarine, so we're not going to be able to do that. But we could if we wanted to. And then we can also make sea lanterns if we want to. I think it's worth doing that. Since we are making a guardian farm, you might as well make sea lanterns. That's like building block numero 3, which does require some automated mechanical crafters, not automated crafters, mechanical crafters. But then other than that, we are good. So what I'm actually going to do is move up the backpacks just by 1 block here, so that we can, first of all, get the brass funnel coming out of it, and then we can put it on a belt. And as you can see, it's going to work flawlessly. So let's grab a belt skidoodle, and I want to just combine all the belts. I feel like that's a good idea, and that's mostly because the items coming from over here are going to be drastically less, since most of the mobs are going to spawn in this area, since it's closer, as you can see, since it is closer to where I'm going to be AFKing, so they have a more height-wise ability to spawn versus the ones over here. And just through my like 3 seconds of testing, this diamond backpack did not get a ton of items. And to avoid like congestion on the belts, I'm actually going to set all of these to a stack only, so that you aren't just dropping out a fish at a time, because we don't want that at all. So if we do a stack, it'll only drop a stack of prismarine, a stack of prismarine sea, what are these, crystals, and a stack of prismarine shards at the same time, and then fish that we'll just throw out. But we'll be able to do all of those, and if we use some tunnels on both sides here, we can then split all of the items and filter them. So we only get 3 items here. It's crystals, shards, and trash. The trash, you wouldn't believe it, is going straight into the garbage. There we go. After we get the cod thrown out, we can move on to crafting the sea lanterns. So we are going to have to do this in a mechanical crafter. There's no way around it, but I am going to use mechanical arms to bring the items into the mechanical crafters, just so that we don't have to deal with anything extra like that. And I'm actually going to flip these around. And am I so glad for mechanical crafters, because you can do the easiest thing ever and then just place them here. That is now done. And then we just have the final 2 prismarine boys, which both just goes into an automated press, and then they're made. I don't know if we want to do separate ones or the same one. The issue is, I think no matter what, it's going to be an odd number unless we use another set of tunnels and split it. But no, it'll still be uneven, because one is going to be a stack of 9 versus a stack of 4. What we're going to do is we are going to have a crusher for prismarine bricks, and then after that we're going to have a crusher of normal prismarine, and my hope is that the prismarine bricks will get priority, but since it costs 9, it'll be slower. Who knows if that's true. Now that we have all this set up, let's connect everything to power, and I suppose it's probably good if we now connect the fans and the drills to the same power source instead of different ones. Alright, it is pretty much already working. We just need to get these mechanical presses in and power those things. I've powered all the belts, those are working. I do need to connect up this side to power, which is now all done, and it looks like it's actually keeping up. Well, I say this, let's go up to the AFK spot and verify that it's keeping up. It should be. I mean, it's not a crazy efficient farm. It's not that big either, but it's always good to check, because you would hate for it to not be fast enough. So it does look like we're getting quite a few items. If we check to see how much has been made in that short time, We do have almost double the amount of normal prismarine blocks as we do prismarine bricks, which is a little bit expected. I mean, these cost almost double the price, so I'm not too worried about that. And we also have quite a few sea lanterns already. If we are to set down a chunk loader here, how does this work? It'll do the entirety of the chunks. So what I'm doing here is I'm setting up the chunk loader, and it's actually pretty perfect. It'll load a 3x3 of chunks all the way around here, which is, I think, good. I think that's all that we need, but it does need rotational speed to actually work. So if we just throw this bad boy on top of here, that is plenty. And if we do that now, it should load in these chunks all the time. The only issue is that it's going to load in the entire Guardian Farm area, which is not super great. So I'm not sure what we do about this. Maybe we just suck it up and see. I'm very curious. If I go way out of normal mob spawny distance and like I basically unload the chunks, will we still get... I'm going to sit up here where literally the chunks are now unloaded. There we go. They're gone. I'm going to sit up here, I guess float up here, and see, first of all, if we get a bunch of new blocks, if any, because that'll mean, well, both chunks are loaded and things are still happening, which is good. Or if we get nothing at all and it doesn't matter what chunk loading looks like, I'll have to AFK it manually anyway. It has been at least 20 minutes. We should have quite a bit of stuff happening, and it feels like there isn't, which is probably neutral news, honestly. It means that we can still AFK there. So we had that amount. So the chunk loader doesn't do anything, which is good news because then we don't have to make a whole big Guardian farm, but it does mean we need to AFK up there for this to work at all, which I think makes sense. If you had a chunk loader that could load in mobs too, that would be so many problems. So we have now a working Guardian farm, a little AFK platform over yonder, and everything is working kind of good enough. So I suppose let's get this over into our survival world. And in this short little time lapse where we're just tearing down the part of the Guardian farm and then rebuilding the thing that we just built in creative, it was pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I just used a schematic cannon, but in the last little bit where I built a steam engine to power the whole thing, my game crashed for some reason and I didn't get to record that. So there is a little bit of a steam engine at the very end, but that's the end of the time lapse. So let's get back into the survival world. And we are back, as I said, at the very end. My game crashed that was recording this, so I couldn't show us building up a steam engine here. This is kind of my base steam engine design. I have a tutorial about it on my channel. I can put it up in the top right of the screen. I can't point to it because I'm always pointing in the center. That's how Minecraft works. I'm still wearing a helmet. But we have this whole thing set up. We have AFK'd a little bit, and it is at heat level 4, which generates 65k SU, which is all that we need to actually turn this on. I think I only need 50k for this to work, but it should get up to full speed eventually. It'll just maybe take a bit. In the meantime, though, this is actually going to just work. We can, if I run way over here, I need to run way over here. We should see guardians spawning in the center there. I have to be higher up and further away from them to actually do that. And since it's nighttime, they're going to spawn, mobs are going to spawn out here. Hopefully we should see guardians dying, but it's hard to tell. Regardless, it is going to work. I just need to get in the final AFK platform way up in the sky, and then we'll be good. In the meantime, though, we have a train that I want to hook up in this episode, and we don't have a ton of time left in the episode to do this, so let's get that going. This does mean I need more train parts. I don't think I have those, so I suppose we have to grab some of that. I also don't know exactly what I'm doing with the setup here. I think I want to have, like, just the train come around and go back into the main railway. If this were a bigger world with more people on it, then I would like have a cool thing with train signals and stuff, which are these things, which like tell train to go or not go depending on if they'll crash into something. But in a single player world where this is as far as I'm going out in the world, there's no point. I also set up just a waystone. What are they called? A waystone to get back to the home pretty quickly, because I genuinely never remember everything that I need. And that's a long distance to travel by flying. So we just got a waystone thrown in there, and then we're good with that. But I am rambling like crazy. Let's get a bunch of tracks here. We have a ton, and that should be more than enough. And maybe we can get to decorating the train station in the next episode. I'll get a basic system in and a basic way to get all the train stuff working in this one, but I might not have time to decorate it. I'm trying to find these bad boys, just because these are kind of my main blocks for underneath the train tracks. Where are you? Over here. And I've now gotten in the track for that. It is just a big old circle. But now to get in the item transport from over there all the way over to here. So this is always going to be loaded in when I'm actually AFKing it and care about it. So I'm not worried about like unloading the chunks all weird and stuff breaking. So we should just be able to create one belt that goes from here over to there, and then it will work. I forgot to turn this on, but if we do, you should see these guardians being pushed. Oh, it's overstressed. So that is the main issue with this build, is that you need to load in the lava cauldron system. But I'm pretty sure when I'm AFKing, I have to be loading it in for it to actually like run properly. So I'm not worried about that. It just means that if we run out, then that's a bad thing. Belt system's in, and it's probably going to just work, which is great. But we do need a train, which I suppose is a problem. I never actually considered needing a train. I suppose let's go back and build that in the main train station, because that will be kind of the main spot for dimensions that we care about. Because I think the train station is the smallest area, because our Guardian Farm area, like the train length is much longer there. I mean, this one is probably longer, but it technically ends here because this is where the train station ends. So we need to make sure that the train actually fits here. We have now built up the train. It is the exact same locomotive as the other one that I made over for the other like smaller barn farm train area thing. But this one is just the same. I think it makes sense that the same factory has the same kind of system. But we do have a different kind of train carriage system where we're still using the item vaults, different colors, and then we have kind of a prismarine pile here just to distinguish that this is in fact a prismarine train. We are already at the Guardian Farm kind of loader-unloader system, and we have a shoop with a hat. More importantly, we actually have item storage and kind of bringing into the system, and this thing will wait until we have 1,000 items before it gets sent off again. If we change that really quick to just be 10, then we can see this thing send off again, and we will get back to the main base. Over here, I actually had to steal the train schedule from the shoop or he'd run away again. We have the item kind of collection takey-outy systems already set up, and they go all the way around back into the main storage system way in our main base. And I've already set up the storage drawers for those to fit as well, so we're getting a bunch of items over there. I'm actually curious how many we've gotten in the time it's taken me to just like develop this thing. Oh wow, almost 700 prismarine, and then 150, 350 of those two things, which is great. I haven't even been AFK for too long. I think I've been AFK for like 5 minutes. So that is really good. I think now we can send this bad boy off. We're already at 1,000. So when this empties out, the train will just send itself off again and we will be good to go. A thing that I didn't really consider until after building this and it being fully done is that hostile mobs that spawn over here will affect the rates of the farm, since guardians are considered hostile mobs. So I can light this up eventually. I might not, depending on the rates, but with our AFK station over here, the guardians actually get created really quickly. I guess spawned is the right word. They're not like birthed. They just teleport in. So if we fly down here with our cam account, we can see a bunch spawning in. Some do spawn on the outskirts here, and I guess zombies spawn, which maybe we should light up the area. But most of the guardians spawn in here. The ones that are outside usually despawn pretty quickly, as you can see, so I'm not too worried about that as affecting the rates too bad. And we are getting a bunch of items. You can see that this is backed up. I do need to kind of fix this to have more items on that depot. I've run into the fact that we are just having way too many of these prismarine crystal things, and there's not really anything I can do, since we need the prismarine shards to craft with those to make sea lanterns, and then otherwise there's no other purpose for them. So maybe we have them part of the throw out system. I have no idea. LOL, see you, Mr. Creeper. Oh, unsee you. How did you survive? Oh, you can swim. Yeah, and we're running into the same issue where we just have too many prismarine crystals. I'm gonna just do something crazy where we remove this, replace it with an item vault, and I think just occasionally we are going to just throw prismarine crystals out from here. And I'm doing something that I think might work. So we're checking the threshold of this depot here, And if it is below a certain amount, where if it's at 0%, meaning this has 0 shards in it, then this will be able to take items from here and just throw them out. But if there are any shards on here, that means that we can still craft stuff, then this is going to stay there. So if we have prismarine there, it will keep going until this one runs out fully. And then when it does, we'll just remove the rest so that overflow doesn't happen. And you can't use prismarine crystals for anything else, which is so stupid. Like it makes no sense at all, other than crafting nether quartz, which could be useful for some stuff. I don't know entirely, but maybe you could use it. I don't need it for sure, but someone may. So I guess that's a cool crafting recipe. Anyway, this should fix the overflow problem. So now we can AFK way up there and everything will be working. This is working incredibly well. I think potentially too well. A thing that I didn't even consider that is almost certainly happening. We have been AFKing for only about an hour and all of that is backed up. I think what's happening is this train is not being chunk loaded, so we can't excavate all of the items. I've never run into this issue because no matter where I've been, it's always been emptying out. But since we're away over at the Guardian farm, this whole area is not being loaded in. So we're going to need to make a chunk loader and do all of that so that this is loaded in and all the items are being deposited even when I'm over at the Guardian farm. But this video has already been way too long, so we are going to do that in the next one. And we also still need to build the train station, the station itself, over at the Guardian farm. So both of those will be in next episode. But thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like, and if you're not subscribed, it's episode 43. Just subscribe, do it. All right, I will see you all next time. Peace.